What I want to do is help them to overcome their obstacles. But what I find often is that their obstacles come from some sort of trauma. And I explain to them, like, trauma is not this great big huge major event. It can be, stress is trauma. An accident is trauma. A bump, a bruise, a scrape, a grief, shock, or loss is trauma. And how many of us as humans have not had some of that? And like for me, I stayed small for so many years. I mean, I literally published this huge book that was my story and threw it in the corner and did very little with it because I was like, what? I just exposed myself, and I always stayed small to keep everyone safe. So, even the things that I'm watching myself do as I'm coming out of staying small and trying to expand my reach and say, yeah, I am here. And yes, I do have something to offer, and it's safe for me to do that. I'm still seeing my trauma peak up a little bit and go, you sure you want to get big? You sure you want to be noticed? So yes. I think those are the people that I want to reach, is really anyone who's really struggling. And the people that I work with, they are so intelligent. They have literally, some of them, built like huge multi-million dollar either companies or whatever they've done. One was literally a rocket scientist. And, it's like, wow. And so when they get to the point where they're stuck, it's usually something that's traumatic and unconscious or subconscious, because they've done amazing things already and they can continue to do it. So, that's kind of where I'm at. So instead of saying, let me heal your trauma, I'm saying, I recognize there could be trauma, and this is what I call trauma, but I really want to help you with any obstacles where you're really stuck. Yeah. And it's so true. And I could talk about it all day long. I just love it because with my work, what I see is, like, if I tell them, okay, no obstacles whatsoever, what would you do? And they're like, no obstacles. I'm like, no obstacles. And they come up with boom, 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 boom. And then I go, okay, well, let's see, what are things you're willing to commit to? And if none of them are ones, then, and that's when you see the light bulb go up. And because they've given themselves permission to think about it, all of a sudden they go, I could do that potential action. I could do that. I can commit to that. It's like, what? So now they start to see things that they had in their head that they never put out there. But when you say, oh, no obstacles, oh, okay, I could do that. And then they're all of a sudden, they're like, I could do that. And then you see them doing it. It's just such an amazing thing, when you help them beyond that piece, you do it all the time. Have the ability to assess, like, where people are currently at. And I have the ability and the tools to learn who they are as individuals, or as groups, individuals within groups, if I'm working with a group, and then be able to tailor, customized solutions to them versus asking them to fit a mold. And so, that's one of the biggest pieces for me. And I think with my business, I started out as alternative therapies and realized that I was missing a niche of people. And so I went into more of the logical, sequential, strategies as well. So, my business model, I've always kept it very separate. Oh, here's my alternative therapies, and here's my very logical, sequential, 7-step process. And then it's just in the last couple of years that I've married the two in social media, So I think for me, it's so key to know, for people to know that I am going to be looking at how they process information. I want them to look at, having a growth mindset, so that we may start with how they best attain and retain information, what their best work environments are, what their best, evaluative methods are. But it doesn't mean that that's where we stay. It's a starting point. And so there's that growth mindset where we can take people from point A to point B, because, if they're where they're at right now, they're definitely doing something to continue to survive and get by, but they don't want to survive. They want to thrive. And so they're going to have to be able find that little bit of open-mindedness and that courage to say, okay, you know, Donna is going to provide me with a real safety net so that I can take this risk and I can try these things out and I can grow in a different way. And then if I see I've done this, but I still have these old patterns that did serve me better, then they still have that ability to go back to that. For me, I really want them to know that, and this is for a lot of people, but it's important to me that they know that I come from a place of compassion and non-judgment.
Yes.
That is so important because, you know, people share, a lot of times they'll say, I just told you something I've never told anyone in my entire life. And I'm so honored when I hear that. And I'm sure you get that as well.
I do.
And
we both have that.
Yes. And it's like, for me, even just making that kind of a connection, if I never gave them another strategy, giving them that outlet to get out what they're holding in their body.
Yeah.
Because what they hold in their body is going to create their essence. And their essence is going to absolutely speak volumes to people who maybe might not even say one word to them. They're going to have an essence about them. And it's that's so huge for me. And that's where both sides come in. Like I have a massage therapy license, which I don't do anymore. I am Reiki certified. I'm a Reiki master teacher. And, you know, I have my own energy rebalancing, train the trainer type of thing. So people who are practitioners of that sort can come to me and they can learn my method. I have, you know, modules for conscious living for anybody out there who just wants to live more consciously, because what they're projecting and the ripple effect they're bringing back is just not what they want, right? So anywho, those are just some of the things that are really super important to me.